All right, so today we're talking about Python language, and we are going to learn the whole Python course today through the session. And let's start off with learning what is Python and why do we use it and why it is a very hot topic these days. So first of all, Python, like like very other languages, as we have C++, Java, and some other languages, Python is also a language that is used for development, for software development, and for web app developments, and some other applications, specifically in artificial intelligence or in data structures. Okay, because Python is a very interactive and very easy language to use with, or to use in very high level applications. Okay, so with the basic definition of Python, so Python is an interpreted high level general purpose programming language. Okay, so this is what we call it. It is a very a general purpose, like it can be used for any purpose, and of course it is a high level language. And it was first introduced in 1991, talking about its history as well. All right, so we have talked about what is Python. We have talked about what its benefits. Okay, so the benefits of Python, they include for the reason for using Python will be that Python is a very user-friendly language. Second thing is it has a great community. Like a lot of people are already using it, and we have a large number of people already working on it, and we have a great community that is very helpful whenever you are stuck in something while learning Python. Okay, so uh, if you are ever stuck in learning or making any programs, you can just go ahead to the community, and there are several kind of platforms that are already available for you to help. All right, so we have talked about Python, we talked about its benefits. Now, how can we use Python and how can we actually code in it? So to code in any language, as we already know, uh, computers, they don't know our language, right? So because they only know the binary language. So to communicate with the computers, to give some commands uh, to make them do what we want. So for that purpose, we need a programming language. And those programming languages are usually high-level languages. High-level languages means that uh, these programming languages have words like they have some uh, commands like that we understand, right? So we can say print, we can ask them to do this, do that. Okay, so all these languages which are interpreted or which can be understood by humans, these are called as high level languages. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and computers, they're stuck in 0101, and that is called as the low level language only. So this is why we always need a programming language to interact with our computers. All right, so now we have a programming language that will help us to communicate with our computer. But how computer will understand what we are saying? So for that purpose, we use another software called as the interpreter. So what does interpreter do? Interpreter just takes the commands that we are writing in any programming language, and it translates that high level language into the low level language that computers can understand easily. Okay, so this is how the actual transformation works. You give commands in high level language to in a particular language. It may be a Python, it may be C++, Java, or any other language, and then there will be an interpreter working in the background which will translate all of these data or all of these commands into the computer's language so that computers can work on it. All right, so those interpreters, for those interpreters, if we're talking about Python, we have many interpreters already available. And after you have an interpreter, now you need an environment in which you can easily code. Okay, so Python, usually Python is available on each and every Windows. Like it may be a Mac or any Windows program. So usually Python comes in built in, or you can also download it from the web. You can just go ahead and download Python, and you will get a software. So that software can be available, and you can code easily by just going to your start button and just searching Python, and you will find an environment that is not that much friendly. You can't just create some great web apps or great softwares from that environment. So for that purpose, to create an environment or to install an environment, there are many companies working on it, and one of these environment is called as the Pycharm. So we in development sides, we usually use Python because it is very developer friendly. The second environment that we can work on is called as Jupyter Notebook. Okay, we also call it the Anaconda software. So you download the Anaconda software and then you go ahead to use the Jupyter Notebook. And Jupyter Notebook is very handy and is very useful when you actually want to program, or when you actually want to learn data sciences. So it have very interactive kind of graphs or data representation, right? So if you are working on these two subjects, Jupyter Notebook is a very favorite kind of working environment. But for this whole course, we will be using Python because it is very user friendly. So for that purpose, let me first share my screen with you. So first of all, we'll just go ahead to our start button. And here we'll say this Pycharm. So I hope you already know the whole part in which you have to download Python and then install it in your whole system. And then you need to open a new project. As soon as you open a new project, you will be able to see the screen here. So let me open up an already made project. There you go. So this is a project that I have just created. It's named as Python course. Okay. All right. So as soon as you make a project in Python, it looks like this. The whole environment is just shown in front of you. So we have a lot of tools that we can use, but I will be exploring all of these tools to you as we progress in a whole course. All right. So first of all, we need to create a new file in which we can work. So this is the whole project, and then within it, we'll create a new file in which we can work. All right. So to create a new file, you always need to go to this folder. As you can see, this named as Python course. I have named my project as Python course. We'll just right click on it, and then you have an option called as new. Go to this new. You can also choose file, but we use this Python file. And in here, you can just name it whatever you want. I will be saying it like first program. All right. So let's just say it's a first program, then just press enter. And there you go. So this is the basic file that we have, and this will be what we are going to work on. All right, so in here, I will start off with a very basic command. Now we're going to learn some commands in Python, okay? So in here, I will start off with a very basic command that we always do, or that we always learn in any other programming language. That is called as the print command. So how do you first print anything on the terminal, okay? So in a programming language, you code something and then you want to test it, you just print it. Okay, so you print it on the terminal to see if your code has worked up or it hasn't. Okay, so for that purpose, we use our print command. All right, so to start off with the very basics, I will just say print. So this is the syntax of print command. The syntax is, let me first explain what is a syntax of any command. The syntax is the writing method of how a command can be executed in one particular language. Okay, so Python have its own syntax, C++ have its own syntax, Java has its own syntax. Okay, and this is what I usually recommend my students. You always just need to learn what is the skill of logic building. Whenever you are making whenever you are learning any new programming language, just focus on logic building. As soon as you know what is the logic building, like as soon as you get the skill of building a particular logic, then this syntax learning part, learning syntaxes is very easy. You just so you just want to practice 1 or 2 times and you will get the syntax. Okay, so syntax is how you actually write up in the whole program, right? All
Mm-hmm.
right, so for the print command, you write all the small letters like this, print, simple, and then you need to use those brackets. So before I use brackets, as you can see, just below my print command, we have some suggestions, right? It says print, and then it says values, comma, sep, comma, end, comma, file, comma, flush. So it is just referring towards any kind of data that you want to print. Okay, so it says you can print values, you can print sequences, you can print files, or anything you want. Okay, so print command can be used to print any kind of information that you want to be printed on your terminal. Okay, and this one is a very important part, or a very important utility in Pycharm, that you just need to say a tab and it auto completes the whole thing, the whole command. Okay, so as you can see, the syntax is first print and then those two brackets. All right, the next part will be using quotation marks. So for now, I'm going with the very basic things. So I will be writing quotation marks, and within them you can write whatever you want. So as always, whenever you enter any programming language, you have to first write hello world. So I'll be writing the same thing, hello world. Yeah. So let's just say hello world. And then now this part is also very important for the people who are new to Python. Okay, so whenever you make a new file and then you want to run it in Python with the new file, you first need to say a right click, and then you need to say this, run first program. Okay, so some people just go ahead with this with this dot, with this play command, with this play button. So they say that we don't have configurations, we don't have this play, I don't know how this works. So the simple concept is you just need to right click on it, and then you will see this, run first program. So as soon as you click on run first program, there you go. So this is called as a terminal. Okay, this is
Mm-hmm.
called as a terminal where you see the result of your program. So as you can see, it prints hello world. So this is the result of my program that I just made. And the next thing is also very important. It says that process finished with exit code 0. All right, so this one is very important with the development part. In the development of any software, we never want our software to crash with an error. Okay, so if somehow your program crashes with an error, it might say the process finished with exit code -1 or 1. Okay, so as soon as it says the process finished with exit code 0, it means that your program have ran successfully and there was no errors occurred. Okay, so I can give you one example. If I just click here and I just remove one bracket, and then I try to run the program. Now the right click part, that was for the first running. Now you can run your program from this play button as well as from this play button, which is on the this one is on the top right corner, this one is on the bottom left corner. Okay, so you can run your program from both sides. So I'm going to run this program, but before that, as you can see, there's a red line under after my print command. It says there's something missing. So let's try to run this program and then see what happens. There you go. As soon as starts running the program, it says there's a syntax error. Okay. So as I
Mm-hmm.
told you, the print command have a syntax. Syntax says that you need to say print, and then you need to give two brackets, and then inside those two brackets you can write whatever you want. Right. So if I do not follow the syntax, I will get an error called as the syntax error. Okay, and then at the end, as I mentioned before, it says the process finished with exit code 1, right, which means that an error have occurred and my program has crashed. Okay, so if I just let me give my brackets again so that I'm sure that error never occurs, and then let's just run the program again. There you go. Right, so this is how smoothly you can run a program. Nice. So that is up for our print command. Now let's move on towards learning what else we can do with our print command. So for example, if I just want to print my complete name, how about that? So I'm going to say print. So as you can see, I have just said PR, and I have those suggestions saying you want to print, you want a property or rep. We'll discuss them in the future, but I'm just going to say tab. And there you go. It completes the whole command automatically. And then again, I will say those two quotation marks. I will give some space at the start, at the end, and between that, I'm going to say my complete name. Or let's just say, if I just say John, and then I say William. Okay, so this is someone's complete name, like John and William. So let me first try to run this program, and then I'll tell you what else you can do with it. There you go. It says John William. Good. So what if I want to print my first name in the first line and my last name in the next line? So for that purpose, what do we use is, so we just can't say, let's just, sometimes my student also ask, like if I just press enter, and now if I try to run this, will it be printed into the next line? No, it will not be printed into the next line, right? Because it is using the same print command. Let's start to run this one. Yeah, you see, it prints John William in the same line. All right, so if you want another line, if you want your first name to be in the first line, in the next name, the last name in the next line, so we use an operator called the new line operator. Okay, and that goes like this. So you first need to press the backslash and then an N. Yes, there you go. So a backslash N will take you to the new line. Okay, so as you can see, I haven't gave any space after backslash N, right? So let me first show you what happens, and then I'll tell you. There you go. Now John is in the first line and the William is in the second line. Let me remove this space as well. And let's try to run this one again. There you go. So I have John in the first line, I have William in the second line, and I didn't give a space after the N operator, because if I give a space, so William will go into the next line and will have a space. Okay, so this is what you need to keep in mind. Like the N operator, as soon as you type the N operator, and what comes next will be printed in the next line as it is. If you give a space, the space will also get printed. Okay, as you can see here, this William have a space before it. All right, so that is how we use our new line operator. Good. And this is how you can use more than one line, or this is how you can use two lines. All right, so what if I want to use more than 2 or 3, or I want to use as much as lines as I want? So for that purpose, let me write this one. I'm going to say print, and now this type of print command is usually used for the email typing. So for that, if you want to use more than one line, so you can say this. So instead of just one quotation mark, you need to press your quotation marks for 3 times, right? So it goes like this. It goes like this: 1, 2, and 3. Okay. So I have pressed the quotation marks for 3 times. Now you need to press enter, and you can press enter as much as times you want, and that will get printed, and you can use the whole space within those quotation marks. Okay. And in here I can say hi. After that I can say I am learning Python. Then I can say I hope you are doing good. All right, so this is how you can use more than one line. Let me try to run this program, and let's see what happens. There you go. It says hi, and I'm learning Python, and I hope you are doing good. All right, so this is the result of our whole program. Good. And there's one more thing that we can do with our quotation marks. So for example, if I want to print something like one particular thing and many times, I can say this: print, and then I'll give some quotation marks within that. Let's just say I want to print John. Okay, so I will give a space after John. All right, so if you want to print John for multiple times, like 1, 2, 3, 4, so what you can easily do, now this feature comes only in Python, right? In C++, on C, or in Java, this thing is quite different and difficult as well. So you can just say John, and then you can just multiply it with 5. There you go. So this John will now get printed 5 times. Let's try to run this program. There you go. It says John, 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 right? So whatever you want to print, you can just write it within those quotation marks, and then you just need to multiply it with any particular integral number. I can also say 5. So I want to print 5 times. Now the result of this will not be 25, right? Why? Because I have written 5 within quotation marks, and in Python, whatever you write within quotation marks, it gets printed as it is. Nothing changes within it. Okay. So if I just say, if I just remove those quotation marks, right? So let's remove quotation mark from here as well, and then I try to run this one. So the result of this will be 25, right? But as soon as I give 5 within my quotation marks, now the result will be totally changed. There you go. It prints 5 times. All right. So this is how you multiply your content or your string with as much numbers as you want. Right. So this ends our print command. I hope you have understood the whole concept. If you have any questions, you can ask me.
That's
all right,
great.
So I'll move on towards the next concept.
Okay. So let's make it in different
file.
Video. Yeah, different file and different video. Thank you.